Hi, everyone. My name's John Canfield, and I'm the Vice President of Risk Management at WePay. WePay facilitates payments for online marketplaces, crowdfunding sites, and small business platforms. We offer a super seamless onboarding experience, and we also shield our customers from fraud and risk. I'm going to show how we do this, and I'm going to demonstrate for the first time ever our new patent-pending Risk API. But first, I want to introduce you to April Rasa. April is a marketing consultant, and she's typical of the millions of merchants and end users that WePay serves. April bills her clients using Invoice ASAP, which is one of our platform partners that we enable payments for. Hey, April, what are you up to?
Hi, John. Well, I've got my invoice here using Invoice ASAP. And instead of actually sending it to my client to get a check, which is usually a long process, I'd love for my client to actually enter their credit card information right inside the invoice here.
Well, you know you actually can do that just by going to the home page and clicking on the Add Payments button there.
Okay.
So this page is giving April the option of adding WePay as her payment processor.
John, is this going to take a long process?
Actually, no. It's really short. And you're not the first person to ask that question. It turns out that the more data fields that you ask a user to fill in up front, the higher the drop-off rate is going to be. So Invoice ASAP wants as fast and as seamless a sign-up process as possible. So why don't you go ahead and click the Save button and let's see what happens.
All right. So it says, the form to accept WePay payments will now appear on your invoices. So let's check that out.
Yeah, so it turns out that other traditional credit card processors ask merchants to fill out a long form and have to wait days to get approved to accept their first payment. As you've seen right here, in contrast, WePay has radically streamlined that process down to a single click. I'll describe how we do that in a minute, but first, let's take a look at this invoice.
Yep, sure enough, here it is. Here's my invoice, and here's the credit card information right here within my invoice.
So we've taken that WePay checkout form and we've optimized it for high conversion for April's clients. So we just ask the basic credit card information. You don't even need to input your address. So if you could go ahead and fill that out while I explain how we do this on the back end. So WePay's proprietary risk engine is called Veda. And Veda collects information from social media, from third-party data sources, and using our new Risk API from our partners like Invoice ASAP. To show you how this works, I'm going to take you behind the scenes to our Veda Risk Engine dashboard, which is used by our internal risk team. So as you can see here, this top portion is the information that's passed through traditional credit card pipes. It's about 80 bytes. And this is why other credit card processors have to ask for so much information up front. They're getting so little information with each transaction. We, by contrast, are able to get a lot of information about the transaction. So these orange lightning bolt icons here indicate information that's been passed through the Risk API from Invoice ASAP to WePay. So you can see that there's a lot of information about the transaction. There's also information about the terms of the transaction. So this field here says that April has fully delivered her service to her client. So that's a lot lower risk than something where it's a prepayment of the transaction. We also get a lot of data about the payer. So here, and that's who's April's client. So here, the data that we've been passed through the Risk API from Invoice ASAP, we're able to validate against the third-party data sources like Experian, as shown by these icons here. And you can see that April's client has been in Experian's database for over 2 years, so that's an example of a pretty well-established business. And here you can see the merchant information that we have about April. Invoice ASAP shows us that April has been a good customer of theirs for over a year. She's done over $40,000 of payments. And down below is another patent pending aspect of the Veda risk engine, which is our social risk engine. We collect data and analyze it from Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter, other social media profiles to validate April's identity. So you can see here that April has spent over 7 years building up her Facebook profile. So this is a very important online credential for April, just the same way that a passport or driver's license is an important credential for the physical world. So Veda not only collects all this information, it also analyzes and scores it. So here you see a merchant quality risk score and an identity risk score. If I pull it up, you can see the wide variety of data and logic we use to generate these scores. And these scores enable us to automatically approve over 95% of the transactions. But in borderline cases, we will look at this data by hand, reach out to the customer if needed, and figure out the real story behind the data. So April's transaction is good to go, and she is good to go as a new WePay merchant.
Awesome. Thanks, John. I didn't realize something so simple for me had so much things going on in the background.
You're welcome. So I've demonstrated that WePay has a super streamlined onboarding process for our end users. And I've also demonstrated that through the Risk API, we're able to gather a wealth of information to get a complete picture in order to do risk management. Using Veda, WePay has reduced its fraud losses by over 75% in the past year, and with a Risk API, we intend to continue this trend and offer even better user experiences. Thanks very much, and we look forward to seeing you at our booth.
Thank you.